But during her short life, she did so much to help out the tribe and all the other tribes in America.
And she had power, and she tried to use it as best she could, and I think she made a difference. She really did.
Angel Decora, Painting a Better Future. Angel Decora's birth name is Hinik Maniwi Kilinaka, which in rough translation means fleecy floating cloud. She was a Native American artist, illustrator, and author who overcame racism and sexism throughout her life in the early 1900s. Angel became an advocate for American Indians and women, which led her to play an important role in the breaking barrier of cultural assimilation.
Angel Decora was born May 3, 1871 in Winnebago Agency, Nebraska, to the Thunderbird tribe. She is granddaughter to Chief Wakuna Decora, otherwise known as Little Decora. Her parents, David Tall Decora and Elizabeth Decora, had one other daughter, Julia Decora.
Her tribe was of French origin, coming from Wisconsin, where the Treaty of Stipulation caused them to move to Nebraska. Her childhood was spent mostly growing up on the plains. In her autobiography, Angel wrote, "I was lured to sleep, night after night, by my father's or grandparents' recital of laws and customs that had regulated daily life of my grandsires for generations and generations."
Angel's childhood was cut short when an older white man, his name unknown, asked her and 6 other children in the tribe if they wanted to ride in a steam car. At the end of the ride, Angel found herself at the University of Hampton, Virginia, in an Indian reforming school with no way back home to her family.
The Hampton Institute was a boarding school made by the United States government. Its purpose was to civilize Native American children. In less technical terms, the government was trying to strip the Native American of all their culture, usually in very harsh forms. The founder of the first reforming school, Richard Henry Pratt, would say, "Kill the Indian in him and save the man."
Angel did well in school, despite being completely cut off from her tribe and family. A teacher of hers, Cora Folsom, grew fond of Angel and her education. She described her by saying, "Angel was brought to Hampton with practically no education and very few words of the English language. She was pretty, bright, and affectionate, but painfully shy and scarcely able to endure the sound of her own voice in the classroom." Angel later graduated in 1891 and attended Miss Burnham Classical School for Girls in Northampton, Massachusetts. Despite her artistic talents, she was an outsider at the school. She stayed with the family off grounds because she wasn't allowed on campus and was the only Native American girl at school.
She left later, due to the uncomfortable environment. In 1892, she attended Smith College, where she was the first Native American woman to be accepted into the art program. This is where she studied under Dwight William Tyron, a famous painter, whose beliefs that art could connect all people had influenced hers. Although she began to realize her unique artistic views, it was not easy to stay at the school. She had to work as a janitor during nights and after classes to afford tuition. She graduated in 1896 with many awards for her work.
Angel went to further her studies at Drexel Institute of Art, Science and History. She went to study under Howard Pyle, a famous illustrator. Howard Pyle was often thought very subjectively about Native American culture. Even though he liked Angel, he saw her only as an image of how American Indians could be modernized into society. A quote of Pyle's was found stating, "Unfortunately, she was a woman, and still more unfortunately an American Indian. She was so retiring that she always kept in the back of my classes. When I tried to rouse her ambition by telling her how famous she might become, she answered, 'We Indian women are taught that modesty is the chief virtue.'"
She later wrote and illustrated 2 stories for the Harper's New Monthly magazine in 1899. These stories were The Sick Child and The Gray Wolf's Daughter. They were her first published pieces of work.
Later that year, Decora moved to Boston and was acquainted with Alice Fletcher and Edward Everett Hale. This is where she learned about the Indian Reform School. She used her illustrations to aid the Society of American Indians. She began work as a commercial artist and designed and illustrated with other artists.
Her portfolio includes illustrations for the book Old Indian Legends by Gertrude Simmons Bannon. She designed the cover, The Middle Five, Indian Boys at School, by Native American ethnologist Francis LaFleche. She also designed for the Indians book by Harper's Magazine, which received national attention and even had an introduction by Theodore Roosevelt, the president at the time.
She lived amongst white people and used this to her advantage to show that artwork could connect all people. Not only did she use artwork to express her feelings and culture, but also used her words and did many speeches. One of her speeches, which took place at the Lake Mohawk Conference, she said, "The Indian in his native dress is a thing of the past, but his art that is born shall endure. He may shed his outer skin, but his markings still lie below that, and should only the brighter."
We can acquire from this evidence that Angel had an intellect beyond her time. By this speech, she meant that although Indians' superficial attributes, like clothes and how they live, may change, things like their culture, religion, customs, and art will live on. As times change, and others may try to change them, these important parts of their culture will continue to flourish.
Her speech was one of many she did as the partner with the Society of American Indians, which was her first native rights organization. Angel designed the logo for the society, which established in 1911. She became an officer that spoke on artistic and political matters. Angel donated $3,000, which is equivalent to $40,000 today, in support to the organization.
In 1906, she was asked to teach at the renowned Carlisle School. Angel agreed to teach, but only if she could teach her students authentic Native American art. She became the first to open a Native American arts department that taught painting, illustration, graphic design, and more. This is where she met William Dietz, a football player at the school who was also an artist. They married in 1908 and worked on illustrations together. One of their pieces was Yellow Star, a story of East and West by Elaine Eastman, who became a colleague and a friend of Angel's. Although Dietz and her were happily married, William had some controversy around his name and ethnicity. Some are skeptical if he ever had Native American heritage, or if it was used to promote the football team he played for.
After working at Carlisle, she was becoming a successful artist. She was behind lots of work but was rarely given the same credit as the authors and colleagues. Her teaching career was time-consuming, and in these years she made fewer pieces of art. One of her greatest accomplishments while teaching at Carlisle was the publishing of The Red Man, the Indian Craftsman, which is a book that was printed and produced by her students featuring the history of Carlisle.
Although her work status and social life were sufficient, her ties with family were not. After being taken away to the reforming school, years later as an adult, she was allowed to see her family. Her mother and Angel reunited. In Angel's biography, she said her mother had wept every night for her return. Her father never gave up hope, although it was too late, for he had died years earlier. Angel's decision to pursue art was not easy to make, and resulted in her losing connection with most of her tribe. However, she felt it was necessary to continue doing what she was passionate about.
In 1915, Angel quit working at Carlisle to pursue her own passions. During this time, she continued to work with the American Indian Society and took up more jobs. In 1918, Angel and William Dietz divorced. Reasons why are known.
Angel focused most of her time on her art. One of her last works was partnership with the New York State Museum. She agreed to produce sketches of the Devonian fauna. The workers at the museum were grateful for Angel's skillful work.
Unfortunately, her continuation of her work was cut short due to the fact that she had died in February 1919 of the influenza. She's buried in the Bridge Street Cemetery. Unfortunately, her grave did not have a headstone until 2018, where one was put to honor her work and art throughout her life.
We learned that Angel's story is a unique one. At first glance, most see the story of a Native American woman trying to survive in the 1900s. How a young girl was kidnapped from her family and became successful through her beautiful paintings and tribal illustrations. However, by taking a deeper glance, we learned Angel never really got her recognition. How she was left alone in a world full of hatred at a young age, left to learn that she was different. She pursued art to express herself and who she was, but was only used as a pawn to represent her culture in a European-American society.
She was cast out from society and her tribe for living amongst the white people, accepted by no one. Angel began to break down the wall separating American Indians and Americans. She strove to build a bridge to connect these cultures and prove Native people were more than a culture, something that couldn't be changed or assimilated. Angel's barrier is one that is still standing. Although her legacy is left buried, the people she believed in, the organization she started, are still living today, working to break down the wall and in its place make a bridge, one leading to a better future.